make a move. Pack horses all loaded up, and yeah.
Sweet as, man, no problem.
You thirsty there? We've got about 3 Ks to go. Oh, you...
Welcome back to the BK Car Build. Let's have a quick look at the progress thus far. Meg and Turbo's aim of world domination prompted them to build this 323 wagon as a skid car. It's been stripped, painted, had new suspension built, and the interior spruced up. Let's now see how Otahu chrome platers bring back the bling.
This is the 323 parts over here. Now this is a part that is still plated, still rusty. So what we do, we remove that by special chemicals. So we take all the plating off it, derust it, and ready for panel beating.
In the panel beating shop, things get straightened out the old way. Once that's done, it's out to the polishing room.
This is the hard part of the process. Everything has to be polished by different emery belts, things like that, to get a good finish on the work. The whole idea of this here, you've got to get long runs on it, so you've got to be straight. As you can see, this is done with a 120 belt. You can see that it's a nice cut. We go down to a 180, and then we go down finer again to a 240, and then we get a worn 240 with grease on it, and we go over it again, so it leaves it quite shiny. And then from then, we go out to the plating shop. The article comes out and comes into the plating shop here, and goes into a soap cleaner. This is a soap chemical cleaner. I'll just hold it up here for you. Now we've got to wipe all the grease off this work. You've got to be perfectly clean. You can't leave anything on it, otherwise the plating will not stick to it. And then we put it in the tank, back into the bath here. Now we put a electric shock through it. You can actually see that working now, like that.
See it all fizzling away there?
Yeah, and you see the outline of the job. Now that cleaner is really cleaning that steel. And then we come over to this water trough over here, and that takes the chemicals off that one. And then we go into a sulfuric acid. And if you have a look here, you can actually see the power going through it, through the work. And that's itching the steel. That's bringing the steel back to life. And then from there, it's not an air long, and then it comes into this water wash again. We've got to put a cyanide base on it, which is like an undercoat.
Cyanide?
Cyanide, yes, it is cyanide, so cyanide copper. But it's got to go through there, because if we put straight steel into an acid copper, the acid copper just attacks the steel. So you've got to get a base of cyanide copper. So I'll just take that over there now. You can actually see it plating on this tank, because the solution is quite clear. You can just actually see that. See how the colours change now? From steel to there. So, but it needs a little bit more on that, so I'll just put that into there.
And how long does it need to sit in the copper cyanide bath before it goes into the next process?
Probably around about 2 or 3 minutes. I can take this out now, and you can see the real pink colour. Now that's a nice coating on it now to go into the acid copper. Now after the cyanide copper, it is washed off very thoroughly, and it comes into our acid copper. Now, nickel and chrome give you brightness and all that, but the secret in chrome plating, I reckon, is in copper. You get the luster, you get the depth out of copper. After coppering, it comes back out to the polishing shop again, and we use special mops to highly polish the copper so we can see if there's any scratches or any marks in it, so we can copper out, because we've got so much copper on it, you can work it. It's all been copper finished and ready for plating. It's back out to the plating shop.
What to now?
Well, we get it all ready to go through the nickel now, and that will be in the nickel for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then from there it comes out, washed off again, and goes around the corner to our chrome bath, and then it's chromed. Now this is the final step in chrome plating. This is the chrome. But people get the wrong idea to think chrome is one part and that's it, but it's not. Chrome is only to stop the nickel going yellowy and dull. You can see some parts sometimes have got big yellow rings in it, and that's where the chrome hasn't thrown. The main thing is the two coppers, the nickel, and the chrome is only to stop it going yellow.
When you need some bling in your ride, you got to come check out Hpc Coatings. Nikolai, tell us, what is Hpc Coatings all about?
Hpc Coatings are decorative and industrial coatings to help protect your ride and basically give you a better life out of what you've already got, and basically, yeah, make sure it's going to last for a long time.
Now, what you guys do with car parts or any sort of parts that you work with is not only to enhance its look, but also its performance. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we do a range of exhaust coatings, which are the main benefit for performance, and also internal coatings as well. We have two different ranges of exhaust coatings, which is our standard Hypercoat and our Hypercoat Extreme. They're both rated to two different exhaust ratings. One's to 700, the other one's to 1400 degrees Celsius. So it pretty much covers both your naturally aspirated and turbocharged applications. So.
Nikolai, our 323 is in a desperate need of some bling. We want our bits to go from this to that. So talk us through the process.
Okay, well the first step you've seen is the guy blasting or taking back basically the part back to the bare steel. So basically it gives us a good solid base to work from, so that when we put the coating on we know that it's going to adhere properly. After that then we go to our spraying area. From there our sprayer basically applies 2 coats of the material, drying it in between each coat. And being that it's a water-based product, it's actually very difficult to spray. It's far harder than any oil-based paint. So the coating in itself is an alloy ceramic coating, so it's basically a ceramic binder with aluminium particles all the way through it. After the parts are sprayed, they go into the bake oven, and the bake oven makes sure that the parts are completely cured, and curing them gives the very best adhesion so that they're going to be on there for life. So you'll find when it's first sprayed that it's actually really dull grey after it's dried off, but then when it goes through a vibro polishing stage it comes up a lovely silver finish. So yeah, it was basically a big tub which has a large motor on the bottom with a couple of offset pulleys, and basically what it does, it spins up and all those balls just shake around in there, and the rubbing action then with a special soap in it basically polishes all the parts up and gives it a lovely shiny finish. Yeah, after it's been vibro polished it then goes to the bath, gets blown down and washed down, remove any extra balls, take the part so it's all completely clean. Then it gets wiped over with a rag, inspected. It's ready for our packing department so they can inspect it and pack it for you to get it off to you.
HPC can hook up all sorts of colours to suit your ride. Check out hpcoatings.co.nz. Meanwhile, Brendan headed over to Mag and Turbo franchise to hook up the wheels for the 323.
First things first with old school Mazdas is that they've got a rear drive offset, which means the front wheel drive wheels won't go on them, and normally they're either 4 and 110, 4 108 or 4 and 114. What that means is like 114mm between the actual lugs. So first option really is what I've found is if you're lucky enough to find an old school set of rims, say like this set of Advans here, this is a 4-stud wheel, rear drive offset, a real cool, well-respected wheel. You could put that will bolt straight on the car.
Just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll do it for the chicks either.
The next option, which is fairly traditional for people who do up show cars and race cars and so forth, is a 3-piece wheel. Why they do this is because you can actually buy the centre with your stud pattern already in it. No matter how strange your stud pattern, they'll make it to fit your car. And also, they're 3-piece. First piece, the centre's the second, and then the inner. And what that means is you can actually make them whatever offset you want. Really, if you want to be just destroying tyres all day, you're probably better off to choose a slightly smaller diameter. That way you're not going to send us broke putting tyres on your rims to destroy. Yeah.
Going smaller diameter means we can get the car a lot lower as well.
Absolutely. Another good option for people with hard to find old school rides with hard to find wheel fitments is to buy a blank. There's normally about 2 or 3 different styles available in blank. What the blank means is that it hasn't been drilled yet. So you can buy the wheel like this and you can take it to an engineer. There's at least 3 or 4 of them in Auckland alone that will do this job and actually put your PCD in here. And they put a healthy boss on the back of it so you can actually machine some of it away to get your offset just perfect. So this wheel here is around the same price as any other 17-inch alloy wheel out there. I've got one more wheel for you to look at, and I think you're going to like it. It's a chrome modular wheel. As you can see, it's brand new, and it's chrome. Comes in 13x7. It will bolt straight onto the car. It fits all old school stud patterns. It has got a rear drive offset. You can see by how deep that is into the rim. Comes in 13x7, and if you really want to go old school and keep it real, that's probably going to be your best option actually.
That sounds exactly what we're after.
Well, if a set of these is what you want, I'll get a tyre fitted onto that rim so you can dummy test it up with your new diff and your brakes and all that, and we'll make sure it fits.
With the Modgies being the wheel of choice, it was over to Mag and Turbo Manukau City to get the tyres hooked up. None other than Nankang 205 6013s were the only tyres to go on this wheel, baby. Good on you, Bruce. Time now to bounce out of here. That's it for the BK Car Build this week. We'll see you next time.
Well, we're here at the Mag and Turbo HQ to have a talk to Nigel about the design of the 3D3, so let's get into it. Nigel, what do you have in mind for the 3D3?
Well, basically, as you can see here, it's a standard 78 3-3 wagon. What we have to do is try to make it work with the Mag and Turbo scheme, which is the blue, the teal, and the silver stripes that we introduced this year. And I'm using a program called Illustrator, which allows me to control what I want to do with the car. Here we apply the Mag and Turbo blue, and then apply the teal, which separates the two colors, and then the silver stripes that we introduced just recently to the new Mag and Turbo scheme, and then just applying the logos here. So yeah, it's pretty much done. Now all we have to do is send it to a sign writer.
With the design of the 323 confirmed, our wagon's gonna look fat. Meanwhile, let's check out what Brendan's up to over at Diffs R Us.
Oh, how's it going, Lee?
Good.
This is the rear end for the 3D3, is it?
Yeah, we're just finishing the last little bits and pieces, and it'll all be ready to go in the car.
You want to give me a bit of a rundown on what you've done to the diff there?
Yeah, well, from the housing that you brought in, we've cut that through here, remachined this area, and brought the bearing caps into the correct length. We removed the old brackets off it and put new spring pads on in the right place, and then we shortened the lengths of the axles. As we explained to you before, we remachined the flanges up, filled all the holes in them and re-drilled them to put the 4-stud pattern in, and then we've remachined the flanges to take your disc rotors, and then positioned your brake calipers in the place that you wanted them, and made up some brackets that will hold the brake caliper in the right place, and then reassembled the whole thing, and it's all ready to go back in the car.
What makes the Hilux diff so good for the application that we're applying it for?
Well, the choices of them over anything else are they're easy to modify to fit all sorts of different import type cars. They have lots of ratios, they're a reasonable sized crown wheel and pinion, and they're easy to get a limited slip for. They've got big 30 spline axles which are very hard to break, and they'll take reasonably up to something around 400 horsepower without having problems. And you can buy a few other bits and pieces that make them a little bit better.
A lot of people out there don't understand how the ratios work. For example, 4.8 and 4.3 relate back to the diff.
Okay, well, the smaller the numerical number, the more revs you need to get the car moving. When you go from, say, 4.1 down to about a 5.14, your revs climb considerably to get the car moving. You lose your top end speed, but you gain launch power.
And obviously, the rolling radius of a four-wheel drive tyre, from what the Hilux has come out with, is going to be a lot smaller with the 13-inch wheels. So how does that affect the diff itself?
It doesn't affect the diff. What it does is it gives you a good choice to match it with your gearbox, your engine, how your engine performs, what tyre height you've got, so that you get either a good launch off the road, or if you've got a normally aspirated rotary in there that has a massive overlap in its porting, and it needs big revs to get it off the ground and make it drivable, then you've got the range of ratios that you can actually gear the car to suit the engine and its application.
Okay, lead light, quite often you see a lot of guys like breaking their